Hey everybody, welcome to Rest
Wow.
Reality 2024. We've made
There
it,
you
Zach,
are.
to
There
another
we
year.
are.
How
Hey,
are you, man?
Dylan.
How's it going?
I'm good. Dylan, you're looking at actually I should that looking. As of the last time that I looked at the Dopo Movie Network Facebook group, I believe you are talking to the oh no, did it I'm tied
You've been
right
like
now.
you've been a little
I'm
bit
tied.
yeah,
the
it's okay.
the Disney 100. I'm gonna say that I'm the Disney 100 draft winner because I was ahead for so long.
Yeah,
Um,
you've been killing it on the polls. Listen, people, if you haven't watched our Disney 100 draft, Zach and I had a bunch of our org friends. Org stands for Online Reality Games. Our org friends on. Wow, that's hard to say 5 times.
not
We
ogres.
had our ogres on to draft different types of onions. Just kidding. We drafted all these different Disney things, Disney movies, Star Wars, Marvel movies, Pixar, and we did a draft and. You get to vote for a winner, and Zach and I love competition
We
because we
do
talk
love
about
some
reality
competition
TV all the time.
all the time.
And it's all when we say reality TV too, I think a lot of people who don't know our show think it's just all us talking about like Real Housewives, or we used to talk about The Bachelor on here, but we're not talking about that kind of reality TV. We talk about reality competition
Yeah,
TV. Like there's very much a winner and a loser, and there is very much a vote out each week. That's the kind of shows we deal with here. So if you're a new person listening, welcome
hi.
aboard. Welcome to the kitchen, as we say. Even though our food theming really has gone downhill from our origins, we never really
You know
had
what?
like food themes. It's just more of like a way to kind of present our show in a unique way.
I drink I drink water when we podcast. So I mean, like that's food.
Yeah,
No, but it
sure.
it also came from our idea was to like sit down to dinner and eat. And Dylan and I have two of the busiest schedules of all time. So trying to sit down for dinner, trying to sit down for a time regularly, let alone dinner, is hard enough. So,
Yes,
now
but
you're here, but you're listening
that
to us
segues us.
recap some great reality TV that kind of capped off 2023. Dylan,
Absolutely.
before we start, how are you doing? How was your new year?
I'm doing great. My New Year was awesome. I spent another New Year's at work, but with my work and without disclosing all the information on where I work and for stalkers out there. But
Yeah,
we
for
do a
all those
private
stalkers we have.
we do a private event though where we closed our restaurant. It's a restaurant. We close our restaurant and we have a private party. And working where I work, it's just a great time. It's a great time to be in the city on New Year's, and I've had a blast doing that. But I'm ready to get back in the swing of things. I re-binged the Traitors season 1 this week because we're getting Traitors season 2 next week, and we are going to cover Traitors on here. This is kind of a little housekeeping to start the episode with because I want to let everyone know what we're up to. I did a video a few days ago, kind of just summing up what's happening on the channel. As I mentioned, Bachelor, Amazing Race, and Dancing with the Stars are kind of going out the window. We're kind of only focusing really on Big Brother and Survivor because that's really our two passions. He's a Big Brother guy, I'm the Survivor guy, but I've made him a Survivor guy and he's made me a Big Brother guy. I was always like a Big Brother fan, but like he made me a super fan. And Zach, he plays the org Survivor games, but I feel like we've really dove into the actual TV show as of late, and that's kind of where we want to bring our focus. We're also going to be talking about the Traitors because of the Survivor and Big Brother alums. Last year we had Suri and Steph from Survivor, and now Suri from Big Brother. But also we had Rachel, Riley, and Cody. But this year we have even more. We do only have 2 Big Brother and 2 Survivor. We have Sandra and Parv from Survivor, Heroes vs. Villains, and many other seasons. And we also have Dan Giesling and Janelle for Big Brother. But we also have like Johnny Bananas from The Challenge, CT from The Challenge. Michael Jordan's son is going to be on it. Peppermint from Drag Race.
Have you seen the tweet that's like it's it's the poster of the Traitors, and the caption is just, man, they all are heavy hitters from these reality TV shows, and then we just got Michael Jordan's son. Right. And it's like one of the funniest things in the entire world.
If you look on the Wikipedia page, like it says what season they all came from originally. Because like Johnny Bananas has done like 30 shows at this point, but he's originally from so and so. Like, he's not originally from The Challenge,
or not originally from The Challenge.
Like
he's from
The Real World or something like that.
Yeah, he's an old school. Yeah,
he's like an old
MTV guy.
Yeah. Like they have like all their original shows, like Parvati says Survivor, and Janelle says Big Brother, and then you get to Michael Jordan's son, it just says like entrepreneur, but then in the asterisk it says, but he's also Michael Jordan's son, so like that makes him relevant, which is going to be fun to see because his wife I think is also competing, and you have Max from Dancing with the Stars, Val's brother Max, who used to be a dancer on it. So like, and he was known for being the one who would like argue with Len. So like he's like kind of like a little bit of a reality TV villain. So like regardless of who the traders are going to be or the faithfuls are going to be, like it's going to be a fun time. We're going to try kind of cover it. Maybe not every week, but maybe do like a bunch of episodes at a time because it is airing weekly. I think we didn't realize how big it would be last season. Like Zach and I were talking before we started recording, but like we were excited having seen the challenge or having seen the traders, and especially seeing Suri go on to win that and then come on Big Brother, and then just rewatching it now, like Suri got her first reality TV show win on that. Like that's huge, and we could see the same happen for like Janelle.
It's true.
Like Janelle getting her first win on reality television. Like that kind of potential is there, and we could see Parvati's second win or Sandra's third, or Dan's.
Dan's.
He almost won.
It's not his third. It should have been his third.
Second, still like his third time making it all the way to the end of one of these shows. Like it could happen. So we're excited and we're going to cover that. But yeah, Survivor and Big Brother is going to be the big focus. We are going to do like one last Dancing with the Stars video with Rachel, Zach's wife, at some point in the next like month, just to kind of put a cap on that, because we did kind of cover it. And I do have graphics for those shows, starting of course with Dancing with the Stars, where I did beat you pretty well here, Zach. I mean, I did kind of handily win this one. With 152 to 144. And I think it really just kind of came down to the winner, I'd say. I think that's kind of where we separated here. But I do have the Amazing Race graphic. I actually have to pull it up again because my computer's faulty. But Amazing Race was weird because going into the finale, Zach, we were tied. We were tied going into the finale. And then at the very, very last placement, I believe, the guys with the mustaches ended up being the thing that separated us here. Let me pull them up. Here we go. Just bringing it in. Oh, the upload is taking too long. That's not what I like to hear, computer.
So this is the other thing as we're bringing up these fantasy drafts. I think in the last, if you don't know Dylan and I's lives have been like roller coasters the last year. So like the time for like sitting down and like watching these episodes in real time has become so few and far between. So like trying to make accurate predictions, accurate lists, like it's difficult. So that's one of our
that's
things.
why we're focusing only on Survivor and Big Brother now, because Survivor now we can like actually hone in on that episode, not like, oh, I watched 30 shows this week. Oh yeah, let's see. I think D's in a good position. Like I think it'll be a lot more fun. Here we go. I have the Amazing Race here. So going into the final episode, we were tied.
Way
you had the mustache guys at 8th, which was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 placements away from where they placed, and I had them about 3 placements away. So there was another one too. I think the father-daughter duo. Actually, here's what happened. So at the final 4, we were tied, but then you had the father-daughter duo in 6, and I had them in 9th. So you went up 3 points on me. But then I went up another 4 points on you because of the mustache guys. That's what happened.
Oh,
so I am going into the finale by 1, and then I ended up coming up the rear. That was a heartbreaker, though. I was very upset to see that because I was devastated. I was like, because I'll admit I had a great year for predicting reality television, right?
You really did.
The Taylor year last year. But listen, I had my winner prediction for Big Brother was Jag. He won, which was a weird circumstance, all things considered. But then I predicted Sochi to win Dancing with the Stars. She won. Neither of us, our winner picks for Amazing Race were very good, but I was hoping we would come close, but it didn't end up panning out. But here's the thing. We're both losers in this respect because we both got stomped by Austin in our Survivor draft. Here we go. I mean, like, me, you, and Ingrid all got stomped. We were all close.
I came in last again.
But here's the thing, Zach. We were all very, very close. And if Austin wins the season over D, you get those points. Or if you had picked J Maya instead of Sabaya, you would have beat me. So like it was very close to the three of us. So me, you, and Ingrid were neck and neck and neck. It was just Austin heavy hitters. I mean, look, Bruce and Katora, as much as they hated each other, they helped.
Yeah, they were big heavy hitters.
And it helped that he didn't have any pre-mergers. The thing is, I had J Maya, who was not a pre-merger. She went out at the Earn the Merge, I believe. But you had Sabaya and Sifu, who was a pre-juror. And then Ingrid had Sean and Brando. So I really think it was the fact that and Caleb went out early for me. So really, the only two end gamers I had were Drake and Drew. Yours were Austin and Kelly, and even Kelly came in 10th. And then she had D and Julie, but she had two such early boots that really Austin just had the best average of placement. I mean, he had Emily, the star of the season, who didn't even get a lot of points. She only had 23 fantasy points because she didn't find much. But then Kendra, who had a good solid amount of points, 22 is not anything to be upset about. Katura, and then Bruce just coming up the stronghold with 41. Now you and Ingrid had the two biggest point getters of the season with Austin and D.
It's true.
But I want to look at our rankings as well, because you did something unique that I've never seen anyone do before. So how we do on our finale predictions is, instead of, because obviously everyone goes home in the finale essentially, so we don't give amount of points based on placement. Instead, if you have someone in 5th place and they come in 5th, you get 5 points. If you have someone in 4th place and they get 4th, you get 5 points. You get 5 points if you're dead on. If you're 1 away, you get 4 points. If you're 2 away, you get 3 points. If you're 3 away, you get 2. Anyway, let me show you what you did. You ended up getting 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, because you had Katura in the right spot. You had Austin 1 spot lower, so he was 1 away. You had Julie 3 spots away, Jake 2 spots away, and D 4 spots away. So you ended up getting everyone. Katura you had right, but everyone else you had a different spot. But everyone was exactly either 5, 4, 3, or 2 points, which was so impressive. Whereas I had D in the right spot, Jake in the right spot, and Julie in the right spot, and then I had Austin Katura flip, so I only got 3 points for each of them. So I ended up winning the Survivor Power Rankings game. But I'm just so impressed. Like, you ended up getting someone right on the nose. Austin was 1 placement off, Jake was 2 off, Julie was 3 off, and D was 4 off. Like, that was really impressive. But I want to talk about this real quick, because this is going to segue us into Survivor talk. D in 5th, when I heard you say that, I was like, she's getting such a winner's edit. Like, why would you have her in 5th? But she almost went home in 5th. Like, that was such a crazy vote that if Katura didn't change her vote last minute to put it on Julie, I think, or Jake, it was such a wild vote. It was a 2-1 to 1-1 vote. D very well could have gone home at 5. And then if she does go home at 5, I think your scenario plays out a little bit more likely. I still don't think Jake wins, because Jake got 0 votes. I don't think the jury saw him as any sort of threat. But I think in that scenario, Julie or Austin probably wins, and you would have gotten more points. So I really think it wasn't a bold risk to put D at 5. I think, honestly, Jake in 1st is the polarizing pick there. But it was a good logic.
Going into that, I mean, D... like you said, I mean, D's getting the winners at it pretty much from like final 7, final 8.
I would say even 8 or 9, because that was after Kelly went home. I think it was very much Emily or D. But then once Emily was so visible, everyone was like, "Oh, she's going soon." So I think right. So final 7 is where we were sure it was going to be D.
It really was it was going to be difficult to pull points. The reason that I did that is that I figured going as far away from the obvious as possible was going to be the thing that would pull me points in a safety ranking. Because at that point, it's not a safety ranking. At that point, it's a prediction chart. Which is different.
Look at what the past few seasons have brought us, though. Jesse should have and was the favorite to win. Many people would have said Carson was the same. They go out because they're the biggest threat. We could have very well seen D get taken out. Like, if she doesn't win immunity at 4 either, we could seen her gotten taken out then. Like, I think the trend is that the biggest threat does go home in 5th or 4th. So putting D in 5th or 4th was smart. The only thing is, like, I couldn't think of anyone else. The thing is, I couldn't think of anyone else who was a reliable winner pick, because I think Jake's edit was all just about how he tried so much and failed so much. And in Katura's edit was all about how it was all about Bruce. And then once Bruce went, it was more about how, she would be able to kind of find herself and, become this like threat at the end. But she even couldn't get it done, especially in the final 5 round with the idol. And then Austin, I feel like his whole storyline was based around advantages or based around D. And just D was one-upping him so much in the end game, where I'll admit, I was surprised Austin got as many votes as he did in the end. You predicted him to get 0 votes. I predicted him to miss the finale, but if he had made the finale, I would have predicted 0 votes for him as well. I'm surprised he got 1 vote. I mean, I get Drew's giving him a vote. I get that. But I was surprised he picked up Bruce and Kendra's vote. Like, he got 3 votes, which is the most of any runner-up in the new era. Xander got 0. Deshaun got 1. Mike Turner got 1. Romeo got 0. 43. Cassidy got 1. And who was 3rd place that season? Who was 3rd place? Oh, Owen got 0. And then Survivor 44, Carolyn gets 0 and Heidi gets 1. 1 is the most votes any runner-up has got. And so the fact that Austin got 3 is very impressive, and I was quite surprised.
And to be honest, it's one of those, like, that's been a very big, I mean, it's a reason that it's a reason that I kind of threw him at that 3rd, like, 0 vote spot, is because his story is so based on advantages, or because his story is so based on D. I talked to a couple people and they were like, well, I mean, if D goes home, Austin gets way more votes than Jake or Julie or Couture, whoever it is, or whatever it is, because she's the person they're championing for him, making sure that he gets votes. And the thing is, every bit of a Survivor edit up until this point would prove that incorrect for me, because he has no actual story based around, and I mean, this is coming. I mean, he was at the top of our safety rankings literally every single week.
But it was circumstantial because of an
idol, and that's what I mean. It's not because he's a great player, and it's not even that Austin is a bad player. But it's very hard to ever be in a scenario that you feel as though you're ever ever in danger of going home, when you have the strongest ally in the game. You have an idol at any point that makes sure that you don't go home. But what I don't like about it, and what I didn't like about Austin's game because of it, is that not only did he start to feel safe, he started to play safe. When you don't make any move or have any want to do anything, you just become that's why he screams 0 votes for me. And that's why I'm also shocked that he even picks up, not only does he pick up 1 vote, he picks up 3 votes. And I mean, like, if you're looking at it, does he play a better game than Cassidy? Absolutely not.
No. And I think that's the thing. It's all subjective based on season, but like, yeah, I think Cassidy should have beat Gabler, let alone get more than 1 vote. And James is the only one who gave her a vote because he wasn't bitter at her, because he was like, I respect the game. Whereas I feel like that jury was kind of bitter. I mean, Carla her feelings were hurt. Jesse was voting with Carla. And I know they've gotten some hate online. I'm not trying to hate on Carla and Jesse, but they're kind of hated online by the Twitter community because of that. And I don't think that's fair. Haley does say I was convinced literally the entire season. Hey, Haley Keener.
Oh my God, Haley Keener.
The entire season that D goes home at 5. And that's the thing. Every new era season would leave you to believe that. The only thing is I couldn't think of another alternative, because like Jake just wasn't getting it done. Julie just didn't feel like the winner of the season, because she also had so many confessionals about, I can't turn on D. And that was her big fatal flaw as well. She couldn't turn on D, but D could turn on her. And I loved how they set up this final 5 vote, though, to where D was fully knowing Julie was probably going to go, but D did not tell Julie or tell Austin to play an idol or anything. And I think that's where D was such a better player than Austin, because Austin, when he had the information, he always went to D, and D used that information against Austin, because it led to Julie playing the idol and Emily going home, and then Austin not playing the idol and Drew going home, is because D withheld off information and Austin gave information. I think that's kind of where Austin's game, I think, faltered at the end, because I think going up to like final 8, I think Austin played a really good game, because he was in every alliance. He was in the power position. He had the idols and stuff, but I think he lost that power when he started telling D everything, and D would use that information to either have Julie play the idol or spin it her way, so Drew went home. And then I think Katora and Jake were just kind of trying to survive at this point. I don't think they ever had win equity. Katora maybe, because she's a good talker and people were impressed with her as a person, but I still don't think she would have had a move to say that was my own, unless she wins fire, takes out Jake there, and somehow Austin and D split votes in the end, or if Katora was able to get out D or Austin in 5th and then like sit with Jake and Julie or something. But very interesting how that end game played. Now, Zach, I have a question to ask. Of this 5 seasons you've watched, A, where does 45 I guess rank for you? Like, is this your favorite season yet? And B, where does D fall for you as a winner, considering the winners we've gotten have been so weird? Erica being this under-edited queen kind of thing, Marianne being such a big personality but kind of breaking out at the end, Gabler being the hiding in plain sight, kind of voting against someone rather voting for someone to win, and then Jam Jam playing a pretty dominant social game. Where does D fall for you? And where does this fall for you?
So,
just overall, I think just first thoughts.
I think as a winner, D is probably one of the most. What the hell is happening? I think as a winner, D is probably one of the most impressive. Her game is pretty flawless. I'm a little, with her edit as a winner, I'm a little uninterested, mainly just because I don't see. I think I enjoy watching a group. I think I enjoy watching a winner struggle to survive and overcome it more than I do one who just has full dominant control. And to watch someone go from no control to dominant control is a little bit different, because then they've at least like struggled a little bit.
It's like Jam Jam, he was like that Tika 3 was the underdog, but then once the Tika 3 started getting ingrained, then he started dominating. But that was very
Right.
much a underdog to then become the top boss. Whereas I feel like all the other winners have kind of been this underdog the whole time.
And I think some of the underdogs are better than others. I think logistically, D's probably like number 2 winner for me. I think Jam Jam is going to be my number 1 winner. Because I just think I like his story better. And I think on the whole, like, I think it goes for me 44 than 45, just because I enjoy. Tika 3 might just also be like a really special thing for me because it was so. It aligned so perfectly parallel with what I was doing in a game I was playing. So like it felt like I was going through like similar emotion. Yeah, it was very cool. It was cool to watch it, and then cool to go back to the game and be like, oh, I just watched this. Which like is it's just a very surreal experience, but I think because of that, like I'm gonna enjoy and latch onto that a lot more. 45 probably falls right below it because 43 I think overtakes 45 if Gabler doesn't win for me.
Right. I think the end game is what sinks 43.
So frustrating.
And not like end game meaning last few episodes. I'm strictly talking like the last
finale.
Because the episode before the finale, if we forget, is
good.
Jesse Blindside.
So good.
I still think is the number 1 episode of the new era. Still.
I agree with you. I think the finale sours 43. Mainly because, like, do I understand voting for Gabler? I guess. I don't know. I don't think I do.
I will say I've listened to podcasts of him like on like the Survivor Specialist and stuff. He is such a nice and just lovely guy. And I think honestly the show, because they wanted to make him almost a little silly, didn't even get that true to the edit. Yeah. Where I almost wish, and this is why I'll say 45 is my favorite new era season, because I think 90-minute episodes.
Oh, that's true too.
Here's the thing. There are people in the pre-merge, Sabaya.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say Brando's probably the least edited person on this season, but Brandon, Sabaya, Brandon, even Sifu and J Maya, who didn't have huge edits, but like I feel like I still understood them as people. We don't get them in their edits they are in 44 to 48. No. Because you didn't have enough time. Even people who were like early, like Kendra was always going to be a silly, quirky personality, but we wouldn't have gotten the personal content that we got from her. Like the stories she shared, the stories Katora shared. Like Katora is probably just an invisible 4th place, like Heather was in 41, had we not had 90-minute episodes, because it probably would have just been about Bruce. And then when Bruce went, they probably would have just made her purple until the end. The thing with 45 is you had the time to really flesh out these people to where you could make the showmance a thing, but not the only thing. You could also have Drew and Jake's rivalry. They had a great rivalry. They hated each other out there. And I'm sure they like each other now. But, the fact that Kelly
but it's different when you're playing.
And the fan community is so devastated at a 10th place finalist. Yeah. And then in 11th place with Caleb. That is the perfect. That's
the beauty of extra time.
That's time. What I hope. And we're going to see 46 also have 90 minutes. So I really hope they keep this going, because that is why I liked it. I think the Tika 3 story is a more fun story than the Reba 4.
But it's also the focus of the entire season.
Yeah, and the Reba 4 didn't have the adversity. The only adversity was when they turned on one another. And then that was actually really interesting. So I really think this is going to age really well as a season. And I agree. I honestly think Dee is one of my favorite winners, because I've seen all 45 seasons of the show, and I think she's one of my favorite winners of all time, just because she had such a chokehold on the game to where she had the core alliance. But even when she wasn't with the core alliance, like when she was in the swap tribe, when it was like her, Sifu, Sean, Julie, J Maya, she accidentally voted Sifu out on Sean's quit, and then went back to camp and had J Maya lie to Sifu and say she did it just because J Maya liked the girls enough to take that L. Like, Dee was having people eating out of the palm of her hand. I really think it's one of the most impressive games. I think if she's a man, people would be looking at her like a Boston. Thing is, a lot of people, because like she's a woman, for some reason when women villains are on the screen and they win, people just like
they get upset.
Yeah. So I'm glad we both love her, and I
like her a lot. I think she's a great representation. I think she's a good.
Her and Jam Jam are like 2 of the best winners we've had, and I'm so happy they were back to back.
Dylan, you now understand. I say this on this podcast all the time. I come at Survivor from a place of like, I started watching Survivor when I started playing Survivor, which is a weird thing to do. Because also who does that? I guess we do, but like the phrase on jury is representate who's a good representation of the season, and D and Jam Jam to me feel like perfect representations of their seasons. Marianne feels like a perfect representation of how a season should go.
Yeah, she had a great
season. Yeah. Erica and Gabler to me don't feel like perfect representations of their season
because of the editing. I think
because
at least for Erica, yeah,
I think I that is the biggest thing, right? I think that's why 90-minute episodes make a comeback so hard, because trying to justify a winner like Erica, even though she definitely deserves her win, is so difficult, because as an audience, you don't see that. But from a perspective of the players, I mean, every single player from 41 has come out and been like, no, Erica was exactly the right choice. Yeah. We didn't vote for her out of pity.
People basically saying Heather was dominant that season. Like, we would have never got that.
No.
Also, another thing to mention is I think 41 and 42 are always going to have that asterisk because of that freaking hourglass. Just because you literally win immunity and
then you're up for eliminate, and then you're up for
the fact that
vote.
Sydney never lost an immunity challenge that season and ends up going home at the merge, like that should never happen. No. And I think that's always kind of what has that asterisk for me for both those seasons. 42 a little bit differently because they at least explained it ahead of time that something could change and stuff. But even 42, I think some of the stuff with Jonathan, especially with the Drea and during the tour reboot with the icky stuff, was a little weird.
No.
I think Mike fumbling the ball as much as he does in the end game for that season, like there's things that keep me back from it. I don't love Romeo as a character as much.
No.
Roxroy, like those aren't as intriguing characters. So I think 42 is one of those like perfectly mid seasons, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but like just like it's like the average. Whereas I think everything since was like above average. 43, I mean Jesse and Cody and Carla brought a lot.
Yeah, 43,
Cassidy as well. It's just the end game sucked, and then 44 and 45 I think are genuinely great seasons. So I think we're on the up and up.
43 going undefined by its winner is a really fantastic season. When you define it through its winner, it becomes less of an exciting season. And I mean, that's the thing that it does not have over 44 and 45 is that defined by their seasons, 44 and 45 are great. Defined by their cast, 44 and 45 are fantastic. I think the only thing that 45 actually also has a little less for me than 44 does is that in 45 there are 2 quits.
Yes.
And that doesn't that imprint isn't lasting on the season for me, but it's certainly like I know for a lot of the community it made it very difficult to continue watching. And that is something that I mean for a lot of people they were kind of like
well, because it also happened in the premiere. I think if it had happened like if you get an episode, like maybe like episode 4, let's say, where at the beginning of the episode, someone's like, I'm just feeling like shit. I don't feel well. I want to quit.
Right.
They quit. And then at the end of the episode, you have a normal tribal council, whatever. I think it would be a little bit better. And that's what we saw of some seasons in like the 20s, 30s. The thing is, this season, it was at tribal council. Someone would say, I'm done. Just vote me out. And I think that was what hurt because it was like this whole episode, this whole build up, and then you're just going to quit then and there. The only difference is, in retrospect, knowing in interviews that they would have voted out Emily in that first tribal makes me actually kind of glad we got that quit in retrospect, because we don't have Emily if Hannah doesn't quit. If Hannah doesn't quit, she probably quits the next day, and then we lose Emily and Hannah for the price of one. And honestly, I think if Emily hadn't been on this season, Bruce is a villain and Bruce is a great character, but I think without Emily's storyline, I think it becomes almost too Bruce dominant in that middle portion of the game, to where I think Emily was the perfect person to kind of be that counter where we could have someone to really root for when we have Bruce being this like big villain. And Bruce isn't even a villain. He's just kind of like a little bit unaware. So I think Emily was just the perfect foil to Bruce's like storyline. Not to say that they were foils for one another, but storyline wise, to where the Reba 3 could just kind of cruise through, and then the Reba 3 kind of picking up in that third act if you're gonna go by act structures. Act 1 is Lulu, Act 2 is Bruce, Act 3 is Reba. And I think that Act 2 would have been too much Bruce if it weren't for Emily. And I think if Emily goes home first episode, I don't know if this
there's nothing to break it up. There's nothing to really like catch your interest or pique your interest.
Sean quitting, I'll still say is the worst episode of the whole season. I hate it.
Yeah, because Hannah, it just doesn't need to happen.
Forgiving. Yeah, Hannah, I'm a little more forgiving because if Sean doesn't quit, Sifu goes home there, and I think Sean actually could make a cool run. We'll never know. He's probably the biggest like question mark of like what could have been. Really quickly though, let's transition now quickly to Reindeer Games, which also had no business being nearly as good as it was. I love reindeer
Reindeer
games.
Games. I hope Reindeer Games is a seasonal thing that we get every year, or maybe every other year.
Even if it's not reindeer games, but like give me like I mean it'd be a little weird with the religious aspect, but like Easter games.
I was
But
gonna
like
say
give
you're
me
gonna
like
go Easter
St.
games,
Patrick's
right?
games, or I don't know. Give me something like every few seasons just to give me a little taste, because this is perfect.
This is what I think is. I think this was so needed for a couple of things. I think it was needed for like Big Brother just as a whole. I think Big Brothers, and we've talked about this so many times on this podcast, Big Brother's format is probably the most stale. Survivor's format offers a lot more wiggle room for like, things to evolve, things to change, things to expand. But Big Brother is sort of kind of stuck in this era of it's set how it is. The format is, once a week, people compete in an HOH. Once a week, people compete in a veto. Once a week, people, sit on once or twice a week, the nominations change. At the end of the week, someone goes home, and it just becomes, there's too much time for things to change. And in some seasons, I mean, just on the whole, it's a little unreliable, because in some seasons that long period of time is great, because we get things like we get Tyler and Bailey fighting in 20. We get we get the whole Frank saga in 18. We get the button in 16, and I just like the entire dynamic. Like we get Devin in 16. You get Dan's funeral in 14. Like you go back, but the further you get towards new age Big Brother, that all kind of starts disappearing. You don't need the length of the week.
And there's a house target, and that doesn't really change. And that's why I think this last season, 25 at least, not Reindeer Games, but 25, that's why people love those first few weeks, because Suri and Izzy throughout the week would change their minds like 20 times. And it was frustrating if you're like a game body, like, what are they doing type person. But if you're in for the entertainment, the weeks where Riley went home and Heisem went home are the two best weeks of Big Brother we've gotten in a long time. But then as the game went on to the end game, especially post jury, it just became, oh, this is the target. Oh, veto's done. We're just going to sit for the rest of the week.
And I think
do nothing,
And I think the problem is every Big Brother player, every ingoing Big Brother player has kind of broken the system. Like they've
gamed the game.
We saw a long time ago. 21 is really like 21 is a weird, like nobody really remembers it because it's such a terrible season.
Yeah.
But 22, it being an all-stars and everyone kind of being able to pregame, starts the trend of like create the big alliance. As long as you keep the big alliance,
people too who can win. That's a difference too, because if you look at, sorry to cut you off really quick.
No, it's okay.
But like, look at even like, and this is a little bit true with 16 as well. So I guess we could go back as far as 16. But like, look at like the Quack Pack. They weren't winning all the challenges. No. Frank was that season. That's what it was such a fun dynamic. Or sorry, 14, not 16. Did I say 14? I don't know.
14. 14.
Pack, like it had all the big characters: Dan, Brittany, Ian. But they were going up against Frank, who kept winning and winning and winning. And that's why I think a lot of the middle game, a lot of people rooted for Cameron, which I will never do. But people were rooting for Cameron because he was the opposition who kept winning and winning and winning. Well, the problem is when the big alliance is full of the people who keep winning, it's harder.
Right.
And that's why people hate 21, because it was like Nicole and Cliff couldn't win.
and
that's comps. And
that's why people
Maria and Felicia couldn't win comps.
That's why when like people ask for a Big Brother season to watch, I always go to 16, 14, or 12. 12 I think is the best because there's no preconceived notion, and it's probably the truest to a regular Big Brother format.
Yeah.
But the dominant alliance doesn't win every competition.
Yeah.
The dominant alliance
have their hands in the
right. They each have a person, and then so that formula that formula exists, and then the cookout perfects it. And when everyone sees the cookout do it, 24, something similar starts to happen, and it changes a little bit because you've got a character like Taylor on there. But then like 25, like it's just once people realize I can't do anything if I'm not in the majority, which again, as a game player, I get it. You want $750,000 from a
television entertainment.
Well, from a television and like a network standpoint, like you've been showing the same show for 25 years. And I think that's, I mean, if you had clips up from our, hopes for like season 25 of, so many things that we were talking about were like what we wanted them to do. And I just think Big Brother, the network, CBS as a whole with Big Brother is a little bit more afraid to take risks because with Survivor, the game happens so quickly that they can do kind of whatever they want. Whereas what I'm hoping they realize with Reindeer Games is that faster format, does it need to be every day? Absolutely not. But like you can cast more people in a seat instead of going with the 16, you go to 20 or whatever it is, and you send 2 people home a week. That's I think I mean that's the best case scenario, because sending 2 people home a week and having it be like, I don't even know, like on Thursday night the HOH is played, noms go up on Friday, veto gets played on Saturday, veto happens on Sunday, first eviction Monday, HOH on Monday night, nominations go up the same night. So then, because then what that also does is it adds a little bit of strategy to, do I want HOH on Thursday or do I want HOH on Monday? And that is because one HOH process is a little bit longer. So do you want more time for your people to have to try and convince people like, hey, this is really who we should go with? Or do you want less time so you can put up who you want and then be like, just trust me. Just trust me. You have to just go for it. You just have, because then again, so 20 people, 2 people go home every week. That's 10 weeks, 7 weeks. That's 70 days. That is the perfect length of a season. And then you can also add in your battle backs. You can skip an eviction instead of 2 evictions 1 week. You do an eviction and a battle back. And then all of a sudden, that's, I think, what Reindeer Games, and then we'll talk about the actual thing. I think, my hope is Reindeer Games creates some sort of want for the Big Brother executives to want to change the format. To what exactly I said? No, I don't think that they'll ever do that. But like a shorter format for a week is so important, because it's what made, I mean, like, look, I'll transition, right? Look how many people rooted for Josh Martinez in this show. Big Brother 19. That's Big Brother 19's Josh Martinez.
One person rooting for Josh this season would be one more than there were on
literally. But like Josh Martinez, how many people rooted for Frankie? How many people changed their tune on Nicole Franzel?
I want to say, first and foremost, I apologize. Here's the thing. I loved Nicole 16 and I really liked her on 18.
22 is where is
really where it turned, and Amazing Race, because I watched her on Amazing Race. I wasn't a fan of her, but this show, I think she's a lot to give the credit to, because she obviously leaned into. I think the thing is she finally accepted the fact she's a villain, because this is the first season where she's married, right? Because 22, is she married? She might be married on 22, but 22
she's engaged. She's engaged on 22.
So weird because of the pre-gaming, but here she's coming in with an actual vendetta against Cody and a beef with Brittany, which adds so much. And then through the course of it, she kind of makes up with the two of them, which is fun, but she still plays for herself. And she is kind of the underdog, where she's never really played like that since 16. Yeah. 18, she was always the top dog. She had Corey in her back pocket fighting for her. She never really faced adversity. And on 22, the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think she really turned it around for herself, and I actually like watching her because she owned the villain of it. She's a Big Brother villain, and I think she has to own that. And when she finally owned that and not being a little pity party, I think it was a lot of fun to watch her. And I give her the credit, and she won it. Like, she won it, and that's the thing. No one voted for her. Like, she won it herself, and I think that's something to be said too. She went, got it, and did it.
Reindeer Games made me love. I loved Nicole Franzel. I loved her before. She was one of the people I was most excited to see on All Stars. We didn't have this yet.
But we talked.
I mean, you knew the people who I was most excited to see were Mama Day, Tyler Crispin, and Nicole Franzel. Those were my people who I was like, this for me is like 3 of the best people to be on this. Where everybody else is excited about like Janelle and Kaser and Keisha, and like some people are excited about Cody. I'm like,
I was stoked. Yeah, I was more of like we're getting Keisha and Memphis back, and Kevin Campbell and Ian Terry. But
here I am like, oh my god, Nicole Franzel, Tyler Crispin, freaking Davon, like
Bailey,
and I was not excited for Bailey. I love Bailey more now. I didn't think Bailey was an all-star.
Well, that was another thing too. Like, all-star was like Keisha's an all-star, Janelle's an all-star, like Nicole Anthony.
Right.
She was a fan favorite. Sure, you'll call her an all-star, but then you had people like
she was
Memphis.
She was recent.
Memphis was an all-star because of Dan, but then like. Yeah, I guess they were all-stars on paper. Because that's the thing. It was a good cast on paper. Just Christmas Abbott was not an all-star. That's one where I was like...
Well, and so that's the thing, is that this, aside from Cameron, I was excited about everyone that they brought back. I thought it was the right kind of people to bring in. Cameron, I
Because it
understand.
was
Again,
true
it's sort of
legends. It was
right.
true legends. You actually had people like, did Danielle change the game? Cody played the most dominant game of all time. Love him or hate him. You know, Taylor was the first black winner woman. Xavier, the first black man to win. Like Frankie
First
had
black
the
winner of a woman.
whatever,
Name
because I was
a
gonna say first
woman.
black winner, but then I forgot Xavier was first. But then you also have Frankie, who was like, I think the highest statistics of like
and
challenge competition
and
of like
wins
place in the win challenge
and
wins.
call
Yeah.
a spade wins the season if there's no button. You have Nicole, who has
Wait,
been
no. Oh, of 60.
if there's no button, he wins that season. I would and they have every single 16 person in that at that point is like, yeah, he wins. There's just no way.
But like they were all, and even Brittany, who like didn't change the
Oh my
game,
God.
is
But
the
Brittany,
best confessionalist of all time. You had
Brittany,
literally the best of all time in every respect, except for Cameron, who I guess could be
right.
like the creepiest, perviest of all time. So like you have someone to fill
And,
every archetype. Even Josh
Nicole
is a legend because of the story of his season, you know.
Well, and Josh is a legend because of the story, but I think what's also cool is that you watch all these people come back. This is what I'm hoping for more. First of all, I hope that this piques interest in like an actual all-star season. Not that 22 isn't an all-stars, it's just trash. But if you give all-stars a shorter format, you give it a celebrity Big Brother format, you get the gameplay you want. Because that's basically what this is, right? This is Big Brother All-Stars with no social aspect. I mean, no, that's incorrect. This is Big Brother All-Stars with a quick format and the like a little bit of social, but also like balanced competitions, forcing people to work together in scenario like that whole red team, blue team thing. And what is that? Episode 2, episode 3. The night that Cody goes home, like it's such a good way to watch this happen because it's not just. I think everyone's very tired of the formula of Big Brother, myself included, and you know how much I love.
Well,
Big
that's
Brother.
the thing is that it is a formula. This
right.
I think the best part of this is you could pregame in terms of like I'm thinking of like Brittany and Danielle and Frankie had just done that little thing before the season. Cody and Frankie are obviously very close, but how much can you pregame when you don't know how it's actually going to
Right, you don't know what you're doing.
When you're winning, when you're playing for the naughty or nice or whatever, and Brittany's winning that first comp, she doesn't even know if
what she's going to have to do.
And I think there's a little bit of a screwed nature to that where you're like, fuck, like I shouldn't have gone for it because now it's screwing me over. But I think I prefer that to, I know exactly how this week is supposed to go. I know there's going to be a veto. Like that's the reason a backdoor isn't as exciting anymore, is because every week is now a backdoor. Because if you have a target, you're not going to put them on the block anymore. But here there was a randomness to it. Are we going to be in teams this week? Are we going to be here? Are we going to be there? That's what I like about this format. There's 3 other big reasons why I think Big Brother Reindeer Games work so well. Theming.
Oh my God,
talked
so
about
good.
We've talked about it with other seasons. Good. How many times have a season gone in and said, this is our big twist of the season. This is going to be what our season's based around. The Big Brother road trip or whatever the fuck that was. Or the Big Brother, what was the one where they were bringing in the Big Brother takeover? It's like Gronk is taking over the week. And then the next week it was like, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. Even the multiverse, which like I gave them credit. Every comp had a different theme of multiverse, but like you had all these alums. Multiverse makes me think you're gonna just have a different host every competition.
Right.
You had so much potential.
Which is what they then did. Like this is
but here's the thing. And not just I'm talking about returning players and hosts and stuff. They had three main elves hosts, but theming. It was Christmas 100% of the way. The challenges were Christmas. The music was Christmas. The house was Christmas. Pick one theme and go with it. That's what I think they need to do. Like there was that one season where it was like the high school cliques and they played every challenge. Like the first one was like kids with acne on their face. It was themed.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be extensive, but just give it a theme of some sort. That's what I think makes Survivor so appealing for people, because season 15 is China. They do it in China. Everything is so Chinese inspired. The challenges, they have to carry these big dragons and like it feels like China. And then you have even a theme that's based on the cast, like heroes versus villains. There's no theme in terms of the decor, but it's very much rooted in good versus evil. You need a theme, I think.
And the
Big
game
Brother, having Christmas as a theme is huge. Not Christmas Abbott. not
No,
Christmas Sabbath.
but the elements of the game are what's most important, especially when you have players who are navigating around the different elements of the game. And right now in Big Brother, there's not really the elements of the game are pretty simple: HOH, veto, nominees, go home. Like there is no and big alliance. Like, and if you're not a part of the big alliance, you're kind of screwed. And what was really great about this, not only is it an awesome way to watch people get redeemed, it's an awesome, again, like Josh Martinez was my winner pick. The reason he was my winner pick is because I was enjoying watching him and other people were enjoying playing with him. And that isn't something that he ever had the benefit of ever playing before. And like
Taylor too. Taylor didn't have an opportunity to play the game she wanted to on her season. This season, she gets to play, and she was a villain this time. And but that's the thing is, last time she was a villain because people thought she was something she wasn't. So they painted her as a bad person. Here, they all knew she was a good person, but she got to be ruthless, and there's a difference there. And Nicole as well.
And it also showcases, like, not for nothing, like a lot of Big Brother Twitter was like, Xavier's not really that great of a winner anymore. Like, because people were realizing you're only as good as the things that surround you in Big Brother. Yeah. And with the cookout, like Xavier wins a lot of competitions, but like if the cookout doesn't form, like what does Xavier do? Does Xavier last nearly as long? Probably not. Someone like Tiffany probably fully
in a modern season though, who knows, because he probably would have just found a way to win out. But here's the thing with Xavier, and I'll say this about his game: he is the reason Danielle Reyes goes home, because Brittany was not going to send Danielle into that hamster wheel, but because Xavier was like, well, don't send Brittany, she's my number one, or I'm sending you, or Xavier told Brittany he was sending her because he couldn't send Danielle because she's his number one, and Brittany went, oh, that's your number one? All right, I'm going to put her in then. I think Xavier played the strategy of the season awfully, but here's the thing. He played a great game on his season, but it's like, I think we're able to see the true colors of some of these people when they don't have a game plan, and how some people are really good at improvising. Frankie Grande, one of the best improvisers. He's an actor, but he also has the ability to like, oh, I need to join this group now. I have to forget that group, or I have to play all groups. Taylor was kind of the same way, whereas I feel like some players were very much like, oh, the alliance thing doesn't really work here. Cody learned that the hard way. Xavier learned that. Luckily, he made it to the end because he was good at comps, but he would have learned it the hard way if he had gone home early.
He would have learned it so early.
And I think that's what's so impressive. Even Danielle, who's someone who's like very much about sneakiness and villainy, and I love Danielle and I loved her on the season. She probably got the worst edit of everyone just because she was only on for such a short amount of time, and she is a very kind of like quiet, cunning type person. But even she had to kind of adapt her game, and when she adapted it, it didn't work well because she put her faith in people who weren't as trustworthy, or who were too trustworthy to where they were like saying she was their number one. But here's my second thing. I was saying the theming was great. The cast also, because you said it too. The fact that you're able to get actual legends, and the fact that the only one who wasn't was the first boot, I think helped a lot. If Cameron wins, I don't know if we're going to say the same, but like, I think it really helps that they were all literally legends. And
think about why they play. Think about why they, I mean, like, let's use Nicole. I'm going to use Nicole Frenzel so much because look at Nicole Frenzel, who literally 3 years ago was like, I'm done with this. I don't ever want to do this again. How do you get Nicole Frenzel to come on your show after literally being like, I'm done with Big Brother, I'm done with the reality TV? Oh, you promise her only like 3 weeks of needing to be there?
I mean, that's why Dan's doing the traders, because
that's
like,
what I mean.
You have to be there for 10 days. And Dan was like, okay. And then once his Peacock deal expires, guess what? He'll probably be on one of these because 10 days is an easy commitment. We'll probably get Derek.
And that's the thing, is that there is a way you will always have people to do your regular All-Star season. I mean, like, and even like, again, you know how much I love him. Tyler Crispin, who literally I follow, he's probably one of my only like huge Big Brother people that I follow on Instagram. He does like these question sessions all the time with the little Instagram things, and someone put like, would you ever go on Big Brother again? He said, I would have said no a long time ago, but now who knows? Which to me is like, again, like, does he play a regular All-Star season, or how the hell does he do on something like this? Because Tyler on something like this, Tyler's one of the best competitors that Big Brother has ever had.
I think he would have no problem with the competition. It's
easy.
And honestly, I think he'd do well socially too. And here's my third thing. The comps themselves are so equitable in this challenge, because and it's not even that they're great challenges. Like, some of the challenges are kind of dumb and stupid. Well, but that's the thing. But you need it to be. It's Big Brother. It's camp.
But the fairness, the equity, and all of them is so good.
It's the fact that Brittany Haynes has a better time at a hamster wheel than Xavier. That's just true. Now Danielle went out because she had less time. So you're putting the oldest woman in the hamster wheel. She's probably going to fall out. But that whole episode, of the idea of, okay, the first person gets the most time, then it diminishes. You are allowed to strategically think about the
Right.
competitions, and not in the sense of, oh, who wants to win this challenge for our alliance? I'll drop out. I'll throw the challenge.
It's
It
not.
was more of, how can you use your social bonds to influence how the challenge will be played and who will be playing in it at what time, and that
It's
is so great.
satisfying. It's satisfying without being luck based, and I feel like
Mhm.
that's a lot of people's problem with Big Brother right now is that it's either too physical based or too luck based. There is no in
Yeah,
between.
it's either you're rolling a ball down a hill and hoping it lands in the 100
Right.
slot instead of the 0, or you're
Or
hanging on for dear life, and the person who obviously has the most muscle mass is gonna win. You know, like it's
and
just it's crazy.
and now my hope, Big Brother Reindeer Games, I think is the best thing to happen to Big Brother in like years. I think it's just so good. It's so refreshing. It's wonderful to watch people who kind of had their moments where they were kind of like, I'm done with the game. Daniel Reyes was done. Brittany was done. Nicole was done. Getting to watch these people come back, because this is I mean, at the end of the day, this is the reason why so many people love Big Brother. Is these people, whether
Yeah,
you loved
it's not even the
Nicole,
game. It's really not.
no.
No.
And the thing is, if there's a different America's favorite player, they're probably there instead of Cameron. Probably,
Yeah.
I would say 100%. I don't think
I
Cameron.
don't think
I
Suri
don't.
would do it, but
Oh,
here's the thing:
I
if Felicia or Matt wins, they'd probably,
and that's what I mean is that now,
and Felicia I don't think would go home first.
and here's the other thing: you are giving more incentive to your people in the house, because I feel like at a certain point everyone gives up. Everyone gives up if they don't think that they're going to be the winner. Um, and only
Right. I
one
mean, we
person
saw it with
wins.
Suri and Felicia. They kind of were just like, yeah, okay, it's gonna be Jack and
Right.
Matt.
And that is so disheartening to watch, because if you're not giving your players incentive to want to succeed, then you're failing the system of what we're trying to watch. It's sort of like in again, we're going to use orgs. It's sort of like in orgs when you're like, it's so disheartening to watch someone not submit a challenge because they're
Right.
like, oh, I know I'm not going to do well at that, and I'm not in danger, so
I
I'm
mean,
just not going to submit.
some behind the scenes, I had a challenge where you would literally had to blow up a balloon and
That's
carry a
so
cup
funny.
with the inflated balloon to build a cup pyramid. I tried it for 5 minutes and thought it was the hardest thing ever, and I was like, I'm not going to do well, and I don't want to. I don't want to fail miserably and be here all day, but I'll keep trying. And I tried for literally 5 more minutes, and then I did it in like a minute. I was able to build a thing in a minute, and I was beat by a guy who did it in 50 seconds. And the rest of the cast, no shade to anyone, either didn't submit,
Shade.
didn't finish. They just said, "Oh, I'm not going to finish this. Just end the stream here." Didn't finish, which counts as a disqualification. Or love you, John Farrell, but took 30 minutes. And I
John
and you know,
Farrell.
and John finished it, so I'm giving John a lot of credit. But the thing is, like, all I had to do was practice at it and put my mind to it, and I finished it in like a minute. And I was surprised myself. But it's like one of those things where it's like you can't just give up, and
Yeah.
you have to try. And I think Reindeer Games just gave people incentive because it was a shorter amount of time to where it's
Yep.
like, if you come in second here, you didn't waste a summer.
No.
Like I
And
legitimately think there are people that come in fourth or third. Like Nicole Franzel and All Stars probably thought she wasted a summer. And here it's like,
well,
if I'm out first or last, I have Arrow and I'm going to be happy. And that's where you should
and
be coming from.
and that's that's what's so hard is also, I mean, you're compensated on Big Brother, but it's not like a hefty compensation. If you're gonna leave for 10 days, at least like, I mean, as they all walked out, they got a nice little prize,
They got
and it
fruitcake.
could have been huge, could have been just like another Christmas sweater.
Danielle
And you know
got
what?
like 250 or not two, like $2,000 or something, right?
And that's the
Got like
thing
her
is
steaming
that,
hot.
like, if you know that you're walking out and there's always a shot that you could get something, sure, you might be pissed if you don't get the good thing, but like, there is never the feeling of I'm wasting my time. And I feel like, again, you give people CBS, once again, I don't care if you put me in a house for 100 days. I'll do it.
I'll do it.
I'll win. But I feel like a lot of these old school players, or even just people who like,
I mean, it's hard to take off a job though, too.
Well,
Like a lot of people don't want to give up their job for that long because also they want to work.
And while you're in the house, I mean, the problem is, while you're in the house, I'm sure time feels so strange. And so tightening up the time period, I think that's just, if there's anything, I was talking about it with a couple of people, like just a group of people, about what the best thing about Reindeer Games was. Is it the best season of Big Brother ever? No. Frank.
Well, it's hard to
You won't
even
watch this, Frank, but it's not the best season of Big Brother ever.
It's also hard to say Big Brother because it is still different enough to where, like, how do you compare this with like Big Brother 3? You know,
what I do think it is, where I will agree, is that I think it's the best thing to happen to the Big Brother format in a very long time, because it's showing that there is a need to change things up. And both the people watching and the people playing will enjoy it. Like, they will have a reaction to it that is positive. Because I think that's what CBS is most afraid, is they're most afraid of changing up the formula and then having people not like it. And I think there's no reward without risk. And right now there's just zero risk in the regular Big Brother formula. As a player, maybe it's great. As a viewer, it's so boring. Yeah. And I think that's what we are all kind of begging for. And I'm hoping that now, we're past the writer's strike. We're going into what, hopefully, knock on wood, is a regular, regular network season. They don't have a ton of time to prep for Big Brother. I mean, Big Brother ended in November. Reindeer Games ended in December. Casting is probably happening right now for 20.
And you can apply.
Just kidding. CBS, you can call me. Please call me.
No, the you can apply was to you, Zach.
Oh, I am going to apply, but I've already
applied for Survivor. I need to apply for Big Brother.
Yeah. But I really do think that this is one of those things where the best thing that can happen is taking from this the idea that changing up your format, there is a payoff to it. So I'm hoping that that's what we see. I'm hoping that's the thing that comes out of this, and if it is, great, and if it's not, I'm still gonna watch. Yeah. I just won't be happy.
Which segues us back to my original opening. We are changing our format here. We're talking about Survivor and Big Brother, and kind of only that. We will talk about the traders because it is off season. We don't have Survivor or Big Brother right now, but we also have other stuff planned for the off season for you guys. We are, after this stream, we're gonna do our own stream. It's not gonna be live because it's gonna come out a few days, so we're gonna give you something to look forward to this weekend, which is a Big Brother simulation. We do a Big Brother simulation. We did one 2 years ago when we didn't even have this show, but I invited Zach on the channel just to do one, and we did a Big Brother simulation with all like the iconic figures of 2021. We're doing that again with 2023 figures, and we won't spoil who's on the cast. But
you'll have to wait and find out.
It's kind of like a Big Brother 13 twist, if you know what I mean, though. You'll see. There's three duos.
Yeah, I forgot.
But they're not going to be playing as duos, but there are 3 duos playing in the game. Because big pop culture moments. It is inspired by Rob Has a Podcast, so we're not stealing the idea. Because it's a Brant Steele. Anyone could do it, but we're not going to steal all the cast either. I took some inspiration from his cast, but his cast, Cocaine Bear, won. Congratulations!
Congratulations,
and
Cocaine Bear.
They also played Survivor, I believe, not Big Brother, but I don't remember. And then we are going to do a Survivor Brant Steele as well in the next coming weeks. That is going to be a new era heroes versus villains, and we are going to decide the cast first. So Zach will bring 10 heroes and 10 villains. I'll bring 10 heroes and 10 villains. We will decide our overall cast of 10 heroes, 10 villains, and then so 5 new era women and 5 new era men per tribe. And if Evie is one of our choices, we can put them on the tribe they belong, obviously, because they're non-binary. But we also will then decide on the cast, and then we will play out the Brant Steele then and there after we've assembled the cast. So it's going to be totally random. My Brant Steele that we're going to be doing for the 2023 is also, the cast is ready, but I haven't pressed go yet, so I have no idea what's going to happen on the season.
No clue.
And then we are also going to have our own little off-season content. Zach is going to attempt to watch some older Survivor seasons, which will be fun, and we're going to have some guests on to talk about that, and just some retrospectives overall, just having people on just to kind of talk about their reality TV journeys and favorite episodes, favorite moments, characters, stuff like that. And as I teased earlier a few days ago, I'm going to be do my own little we're calling them little bites or something like that. I don't know, but where I will be doing like little one-off rankings of like, my top 10 winners or my top 10 seasons or 5 this, 5 that of Survivor specifically, because Zach and I have seen every season of Big Brother. Zach has seen 5 seasons of Survivor now, but there's 40 seasons that I've watched that I know people have been asking, are you going to do a winners ranking or this or that? And I don't want to make Zach sit through every season of survivor, at least not in such a short amount of time. To where
Not unwillingly.
yeah, and if he ever does, then like we can both do a collective winner ranking or anything. But for now, I'll be doing my own little like side quests, if you will. And Zach is kind of working on his own little side project as well, where on the draft day episode, Noah was talking about something about world building, and Zach started talking about how he teaches it to his students. He does these little lectures and TED Talks about world building and fantasy and different things. So Zach pitched this idea to me actually this morning, which we're going to roll with, which is like, what is it called? What in the World?
It's called What in the World.
Yeah, What in the World.
So the idea of What in the World, Noah, if you're watching, I hope you enjoy this cool, fun little announcement. What in the World is going to be a series based off of what makes for a successfully like well-built universe. Obviously, we have things, we talked a lot about it during draft day. We have things like the Marvel Universe, and why the Marvel Universe is usually so successful at making you care so much about it. And usually the reason you care so much about it is based on the way that the worlds are built. But there are so many awesome projects that both do this extremely successfully, and then there are some that do it terribly. So my hope with something like this is, I mean, this is the Dill Pickle Movie Network. And I'm really the only podcast that doesn't have like a super movie element, like centered thing. So, I mean, if you really enjoy, like, one of the things that Noah's draft included was Avatar: The Way of Water, and that's kind of where this stems from. So things like Avatar and the world of Pandora, The Last of Us, and the world of, you know, something infected by the cordyceps, how these different like zombie like universes all kind of stem from the same thing, but some shows do it better than others. Why is that? So if you like world building and you love kind of, I mean, if you're someone like a Disney fanatic or you know, a superhero friend, why does Marvel do it better than DC or vice versa? That's kind of where this whole idea is going to be centered. It's going to be probably more video essay centered, simultaneously.
So it'll be a lot of clips, and it'll be an edited thing. We're not going to do these live. We're not even going to, we don't even know if it's going to be like a sit down conversation thing or if Zach's going to make a script and we're going to kind of follow it that way. My involvement will be the editing side, but Zach's really going to be the brains behind the, cause it's almost like his own little TED Talks that we want to bring to the channel. And of course my egotistical self always wants to be included in every video.
But you are the editor in chief,
I'm the editor,
my friend.
and I will do something along the lines of maybe even like a brief 5-minute introduction, kind of like how Turner Classic Movies does their, you know, before they show a movie, they'll do a little sit down with the director or with someone, a scholar, and just talk about something. We could do like a 5-minute sit down and here's the feature presentation and then show it or something. But I'm really excited. Zach pitched this, and I respect the passion project, but also Zach and I are super busy, so we're gonna try to make this a more regular show to where we can like actually give you consistent content. And the weeks where Zach is busy is where I will be kind of stepping forward and doing the little mini bites or whatever we want to call them. I gave it a name. I just forget what name I gave it.
You said it before this, and I don't remember what it is.
Let me. You know what? I'm gonna do something crazy. I'm gonna pull up my my stream for the Happy New Year.
Oh, Happy New Year!
Here
everyone.
we go. I found it. Small bites. That's what it is.
Small bites.
Rupert's sitting in the can. That is the funniest.
Oh my freaking god!
Because when I was doing that thumbnail, I meant to actually put Rupert on the side with the rest of them, but the copy and paste must have downloaded it without looking and proofreading, so he ended up sitting on the can. But that'll be like if Zach is busy for a week with rehearsals or something, I will do my small bites episode then, and then we'll do a ranking like on the Facebook where we'll just post our rankings. But if we can, we will podcast together. And then every month or every other month or however Zach wants to put out his video essays and stuff, he will record, I guess, like his audio and then give me instructions on what he wants to include in terms of video and clips. And he can record himself talking as well. We'll come up with that off air, but whenever... We will announce when a new one is coming, though, so you can look forward to it and get.
If you're watching this and you want a little fun, I mean, if you're watching this, chances are you know me or I sent this to you. My ultimate favorite world, the way that a world is built, is Last of Us, so that'll probably be the first thing that happens. We got a lot of Last of Us news. I mean the remaster of Part 2 comes out. Part 2 is my favorite game of all time, probably just one of my favorite things of all time. It comes out next week. And on the heels of that, it comes out on the heels of probably the biggest announcement for that kind of community, which is Caitlin Dever has been cast for season 2 as Abby Anderson, which Dylan, you have no idea what that means, do you?
I do.
Oh, you do have an idea
I
what that
do.
means.
No, I do. I haven't finished the first episode of the season of the show, and I promise I will by the end of like the month because I need to finish it for a specific project I'm doing. But no, for the draft day this month,
I was so excited.
No, because part of the draft day this month is drafting the best movie, TV show, and then like a movie we're looking forward to or whatever. And I want to watch it before I draft a show because I have a favorite show of last year that I don't think is going to be topped, but I want to at least watch The Last of Us. So if someone else picks it, I can be like, okay, I get it, or
I agree.
I can at least talk on it. Yeah, I do. I remember when it came out, the game, all the discourse about it, and all I'll say is, if you hate a story choice, you can hate a story choice.
It's true,
but do not
don't hate a person.
Actor.
Don't hate a person.
If the actor's given a shit performance, even then, like, oh god, like,
there is a lot to. I mean, it's something that I will talk about. It's something that I'm going to talk about for sure, actually, in this first episode, because, and that's one of the hard things. It is definitely something that is going to be. Anytime you watch it, it's going to be pretty spoiler heavy. It does not have the luxury of not being able to be spoiler heavy.
That's also why I'm going to finish the show. The first
and then also, it's one of those things where, like, and this is something Dylan and I haven't exactly talked. The format can kind of go either way. Media is very like fluctuating. TV shows, as far as I'm concerned, for what I'm trying to do with it, TV shows, movies, video games, anime, all of it is on the board. Sure. And I mean, my goal is to focus on some of the best, some of the least best. And hopefully you tune in. What in the world? I think it's gonna be cool.
I know you haven't seen the second one at least, but if Avatar Pandora gets any slander, I swear to God,
it will not. It will not. No, and that's
because that's an impressive world build. But like, yeah, it's okay. We'll sit down and talk about it. But we can look forward to that. Zach's Last of Us will be coming in. I want to say maybe the next month and a half. You'll get it.
I'm gonna try and get it out there before maybe the end of the month, even maybe like.
But that'll be February. The first one you get, and then the next one you get will actually be part of our. And I'm throwing this on you now, but we're gonna also play one of your TED Talk or whatever episodes at the subathon, which is going to happen in April. You might get another episode in before April too, but like what we will also be doing an episode in April as part of the subathon, so you can look forward to that.
Subathon's in April this year.
Subathon's in April this year, not February, because I am in a show. And honestly, the thing is, I will have days off, but I don't have 24 hours off, including rest time and prep time. So I need April to be like I could take a full 4 days off, because that's the thing is you need a day to prep, a day to rest, a day to film it, and then a whole day afterwards to rest. So that's going to be how the subathon works in April. And then I will tell you right now, if we hit 100 subscribers, 100 is the number. I've talked to Zach about this. I've talked to Matt. I've talked to Chad. We are going to be hosting our very own Traders season here on the Dill Pickle Movie Network. If we hit 100 subscribers on the subathon, where we will. And this is not necessarily going to be just the host, but we're going to need obviously more. We're going to need up to 16 to 20. We'll be getting people from all over the trivia leagues, all over the org leagues.
You, Haley Keener.
Anyone who wants to play, we will hit a cap if more than 20 people want to play, but we'll have people. How we'll be doing it will be pre-taped, because we're gonna have like 6 Zoom windows going on, one for y'all to talk to one another, one for me to talk to the traders so others can't see, one for y'all to deliberate and vote people out, stuff like that. Haley, LOL, yes, Haley, you will be asked to be recruited if you want to. But what'll be fun is because the one fault of Traders season 1, I feel like, is that production chooses the traders. I'm not going to do that, because let's be honest, people who watch the show, it's not going to be as easy as, Zach, Kelsey, and Matt are the traders.
What do you mean? We're not.
In an ideal world, and what people would probably expect is that you, or maybe like Stacy, but like some combination of the 4 of you will be traders, and I don't want that to happen. If the random wheel selects it that way, it will. But I'll put everyone's names in a wheel. I will spin it, and I will not tell everyone whether it'll be 2, 3, or 4 traders. That'll keep a secret. But it'll be somewhere between 2 and 4 traders will be selected. 2, 3, or 4. I'll give you that much. And then we will all kind of get on a Zoom. We'll go through the process of the traders will kill someone. Everyone else will wake up to find out who was killed. They will all vote someone out. They will reveal if they're a traitor, and we'll keep going until final 5 or final 4, and then we will have the big epic reveal at the end if the traitors ended up winning, or if the faithfuls were able to stick it out. So that'll be a fun thing we do if we hit 100 subscribers. So I'm looking ahead. We're still 4 months out from the subathon,
hit 100 subscribers.
If and when we hit 100 subscribers at the subathon, we will do a Traders season. here on the Dill Pickle Movie Network. And because it's happening in April, I'm going to say it right now. We will find time in the next 4 months to film it. Zach and I, based on the last subathon, unlocked something. And what did we unlock, Zach? A cook-off. We are going to do our own episode. And because the next subathon is in April, we need to actually finish it by then. So our cook-off, our chopped episode, will also be airing on the subathon in April. So you're going to see a lot of Zach and I in the subathon. You're going to see Zach's TED Talks. You're going to see the cook-off that we promised with last subathon. And maybe if we have time to fit in like a Big Brother conversation or just play some games. We don't know what shows we'll be in at that point and what busyness our lives will be, but that's the subathon tease. We've been talking for an hour. We now have to film another stream where we do our BRANTSTEELE in just a sec. So I'll give Zach a second to get some water. I'm going to go pee. But for this video, thank you so much for watching. You can find us down below at our socials. Yes, we're keeping the bird. I'm not going to put the X down there. I refuse. 2024, new year, but same Twitter bird. I don't care. Zach, any last words before we head out?
Yeah, if you're looking to play, this is my 1 year anniversary of when I got into orgs. Haley Keener, who we keep bringing up, is literally my first ever Alliance person, my #1. I don't care that I tried to vote you out. It doesn't change the fact. Put a bell in the chat if you understand. But if you're looking to play and like get involved in the Survivor community, the org that I started in, I now help host. So, and lo and behold, the theme is The Last of Us. So I will put it in
which one? Oh, that's the video game one.
Game on, yeah. So lo and behold,
I was gonna say the TV one. I thought that was doing Parks and Rec. But
no, not that one. Shout out McKenna, love you.
Ooh,
but yeah, if you're interested in, that's rude. If you are interested in being a part of it or kind of like dipping your toe into this, if you hate hearing us talk about it and kind of just want to see if you can do it yourself, or if you love hearing us talk about it, rather, if you hate it too, you know, bell ringer, that's it. It's Survivor Game On Facebook.
There you go. So we'll see you this weekend with our BRANTSTEELE of 2023 figures. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you all who watched live. We had some good viewers.
Thanks,
so
friends.
we'll see you next time. Bye.